A mysterious movement emerged among the rugged beauty of medieval Europe, challenging the established order and embracing a radical spiritual path. The Cathars were seekers of divine truth in a world shrouded in secrecy and persecution. Join us on a journey through time to solve the mystery of the Cathars and learn about their daily lives, rituals, and the profound legacy they left behind. The Cathars, also known as the Albigensians, were a religious sect that thrived in the 12th and 13th centuries. They were centered in the Languedoc region of southern France, but their influence extended throughout Europe. The Cathars arose in opposition to the dominant Catholic Church and its practices. They held beliefs that differed significantly from mainstream Christianity and questioned the Church's authority. The Cathars believed in a dualistic theology in which the material world was inherently evil and the spiritual realm was pure and divine. They believed in two opposing cosmic principles, one of which represented good and the other evil. This distinct belief system resulted in a rejection of material possessions and an emphasis on spiritual purity. The Cathars emphasized a simple and ascetic way of life free of worldly attachments. Join us as we journey through the Cathars' daily lives. Their communities were built on communal living principles with shared resources and an egalitarian spirit. Men and women were treated equally in their society, and education was highly valued. To truly comprehend the Cathars and their way of life, we must first investigate the historical context in which they flourished. The Cathar movement emerged against the backdrop of a dynamic and complex medieval Europe. Europe was characterized by a feudal society in the 12th and 13th centuries, with power concentrated in the hands of the nobility and the Catholic Church. Feudal lords ruled over the vast swaths of land, and the Church wielded significant religious and political power. With various kingdoms, principalities, and city-states vying for power and control, the political landscape was fragmented. It was a period of both cooperation and conflict, with feudal lords constantly vying for territory and influence. Europe underwent an economic transformation during this period, in addition to the feudal and religious structures. Trade and commerce had flourished, and the importance of urban centers grew. This opened up possibilities for cultural exchange, intellectual growth, and idea dissemination. Various dissident movements and heretical groups emerged against the backdrop of social, political, and economic change. These movements questioned the Catholic Church's authority and teachings, seeking alternative paths to spiritual fulfillment. The rise of the Cathars called into question the Catholic Church's authority and supremacy, resulting in conflicts and power struggles. Concerned about its influence and dogma, the Church sought to suppress and eradicate the Cathars' beliefs. During this time, there was a lot of persecution of heretics, including the Cathars. With the support of secular rulers, the Catholic Church launched campaigns to root out and eliminate these dissident groups, employing both military force and the establishment of inquisitorial tribunals. The Cathars' daily lives and beliefs are intertwined with the larger historical context of medieval Europe. Understanding the time's socio-political climate, religious dynamics, and conflicts will give us valuable insights into the Cathar experience. A dualistic worldview was at the heart of the Cathar theology. They believed in two opposing cosmic principles, a benevolent god of the spiritual realm and an evil deity associated with the physical world. The Cathars taught that the physical world was corrupt by nature and that only the spiritual world was pure. They saw the material world as an evil deity's creation, in stark contrast to the divine and perfect spiritual realm. The Cathars rejected the material world and its trappings as a result of the dualistic worldview. They emphasized spiritual purity and attempted to separate themselves from earthly desires and attachments. The Cathars had a distinct approach to religious ceremonies. Many of the Catholic Church's sacraments and rituals were rejected as corrupted by the material world. They instead emphasized the significance of internal spiritual transformation and direct communion with the divine. The consolamentum, a solemn ceremony performed by the perfecti, was seen as a spiritual baptism and a gateway to salvation in Cathar rituals. They also valued sacred text reading and contemplation to gain a thorough understanding of their spiritual teachings. The Cathars believed in soul transmigration, or the idea that the soul could be reincarnated in different bodies until spiritual liberation was achieved. They viewed the physical body as a temporal vessel, with the ultimate goal of breaking free from the cycle of reincarnation and returning to the divine realm. The The Cathars' distinct beliefs and the way of life had an impact on the aspects of medieval culture. Their ideas were expressed in troubadour poetry and philosophical works, and even influenced Gothic architecture. However, the Catholic Church, which regarded the Cathars as heretics, was vehemently opposed to them. This opposition sparked theological debates, conflicts, and eventually a concerted effort to suppress and eradicate the Cathar movement. The Cathars lived in small communities that were often centered on a spiritual leader or perfectus. These communities provided a haven for Cathars to practice their faith and support one another on their spiritual paths. Both men and women played important roles in these communities. Unlike the prevalent gender norms of the time, the Cathars saw men and women as equals, each contributing to the well-being of the community. Women in Cathar communities had an unusual level of autonomy and respect in medieval society. They actively participated in religious rituals, held positions of leadership, and were involved in many aspects of community life. Education was very important in Cathar communities. Men and women were both encouraged to seek knowledge and engage in intellectual pursuits. Cathar communities were known for emphasizing literacy and religious text study. The Cathars lived a simple and ascetic lifestyle, putting spiritual matters ahead of material possessions. They lived modestly and in voluntary poverty, avoiding the accumulation of wealth and luxury. Cathar communities were mostly self-sufficient, relying on agriculture and handicrafts. To meet their basic needs, they cultivated the land and worked in trades such as weaving, pottery, and carpentry. Spiritual practices were very important to the Cathars in their daily lives. They practiced personal prayer, meditation, and contemplation to strengthen their connection with the divine and achieve spiritual purity. Religious gatherings were an important part of the Cathar communal life. Worship, study, and religious ceremonies would bring the entire community together. These gatherings promoted unity and spiritual nourishment. Prayer and meditation were important aspects of Cathar's spiritual practices. The Cathars believed that internal reflection and contemplation had the power to connect with the divine and cultivate spiritual purity. The Cathars placed a high value on the study and comprehension of the religious texts. They valued reading and interpreting sacred scriptures like the New Testament to gain profound insight into their spiritual teachings. Confession rituals were used by the Cathars to purify the soul. Confession was not held in a traditional confessional booth, but rather in a communal setting where people openly confessed their sins and sought forgiveness. Cathar ethics and practices were founded on non-violence. They were opposed to the use of force and violence, even in self-defense, because they believed that harm should never be inflicted on others. The Cathars sought to cultivate spiritual purity, deepen their connection with the divine, and navigate the challenges of earthly existence through their rituals and practices. Thank you for joining us on this journey of discovery. Don't forget to subscribe and enable notifications to be notified of our upcoming videos. Until next time, may you find your path to enlightenment and embrace the Cathars' quest for truth.